over to YouTube and I type in, better yet, if I went to lovecityarts.org, lovecityarts.org. Do I still have audio downstream on you, Stacia? You got to talk to me. You're
yeah. Yep, you do. You do.
Right. And then if you press the button at the top, see, nope, the button doesn't go where it's supposed to.
It is live though. Well, the button at the bottom that says live stream.
That button that's on the website is loud and wrong. It's so wrong. And that's the reason why I asked the questions I asked. Okay, so what we're going to do is change the button because we knew this was going to be a free fall. Wrong. Okay, great. That's the reason why I'll cut and paste. So this is, let's see. Okay. Taking full responsibility. All right, so if you go and type into your browser, Love City Arts, go to the website and push the button that's being changed right now as we speak.
Magic.
You will see, hopefully, how to get at us on the podcast side of this. Stacia, could you warm the room? What's on your heart today?
Ooh, what is on my heart today? Going deeper into exploration of what it means to keep coming back to presence, because and call back to our last episode, leaning into living a fully present expressed life is my major intention for 2021. And so each day I keep coming back to that place of what does presence mean? What does that feel like for me to feel the carpet under my socks with hearts on them and the feeling of the cushion against my IKEA chair at my desk, et cetera, et cetera. And also learning each day what presence looks like in relationship with other humans, and feeling what that feels like to be playing out the exercise of being present in each moment when I engage with people and being mindful of when I'm not, and leaning into the texture of what it feels like when I keep coming back to presence and center when I am communicating and convening with other people.
I'm gonna let you take it because I'm 100% not present because I've got all kinds of technical glitches going on over here. So run.
Yes. Okay. I will run, which I enjoy to do, both literally and metaphysically. This year in 2020, which is really an exercise, a struggle, a challenge, but one that I feel like I'm equipped for. I've really set the intention for myself to, especially in times of struggle and times of anxiety or depression, depression, folks say, is getting caught up in contemplations of the past, and anxiety of contemplations of a future, which is unreal because there really is only the present moment. That each time I'm feeling sadness or anxiety, to do the exercise of coming back to what it feels like to be a human creature who is sitting in an apartment in Washington, D.C. on an IKEA chair, about to delve into an ethereal conversation, an ethereal and a material conversation with the homie about attending, befriending, and with consistency, and what kind of power is embedded in the practice of being present and exercising the principles of attending, befriending, and with consistency.
Everybody, it's now we're having like major technicals over here, but it sounds like Stacia was telling us all about the topic of the week: attending, befriending with consistency. Is that where you were? It sounds like I was over here scrambling, pulling levers, trying to like come back on. But it sounds like that's what you were laying out in a very stern way to the class.
Why do you say stern? Don't drag me, but drag me though.
I came in, you were sitting there like you were in a straitjacket, and I heard the topic. You're like attending and befriending with. I'm like, this is what the substitute teacher decides to teach. Thanks everybody for tuning in and watching this free fall of taking up space. The podcast with Stacia and Dré. The future belongs to the fumbling people on the opposite screen. What are you doing?
The aux of my audio cord got pulled out twice by me acting out the action of pretending to be in a straitjacket.
Listen.
What a time to be alive.
I'm gonna go back onto Clubhouse where I was doing the
most.
Well, that could be contributing to all of the element issues that we're having tonight. The fact that I am hell-bent on just being in all of the spaces for no reason other than to be loved. And so if you're catching my energy becoming more grounded, that's because that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm becoming more grounded in my energy and in and of myself, and recognizing that in the way that we purpose to do this tonight, life is just one big free fall.
Yes.
It really is. And I was scrambling to pull knobs and all of my controls. The moment that I gave control to you, all of my controls over here just fell out of my hand. Why am I the only person on screen right now? Hold on one second. The moment that I gave my control to you, all of my controls went berserk. Like the whole Chrome browser went kaboom. And it was perfect because I had to actually be with the emotion that I was trying to create being live on Clubhouse. This idea that moment by moment by moment, we're just in a perpetual state of free fall.
Mm-hmm.
We really
no top, no bottom to attach to.
No top, no bottom.
I like to be a bottom though.
Shout out to the thirsty among us. Oh my goodness.
Sex sells, bro.
We, every other week or so, go live on Al Gore's invented internet to share love and be loved to the people who have ears to hear it. A lot of our conversation, as you can see, ranges from the tops of things to the bottoms of things, and it's all good over here. Anyway, this week's topic, the ABCs of beloved community and other lessons. A, B, and C is kind of this really simplistic method and model that Stacia and I pulled out of our asses a couple of episodes ago. We were, well, I can't say we, I was high as a kite and just started riffing about how wonderful it is and frustrating and challenging and delightful it is to be in relationship with people like Stacia. And the only way to be in these relationships and to grow is by applying the A, B, and C method that we pulled out of our asses on that episode. And what it is
Black brilliance.
Black brilliance. Ba-ba-bum. Attending and befriending with consistency. It is the magic to make your every dream come true.
Speak on it.
You already spoke on it, though. When I was floundering over here, pulling all of the levers, you were talking to the beloveds about presence. Even made Rosie stand up.
She said,
"What was it?" Presence. A presence to just allow yourself to attend, which we all are doing. There's 5 of us in this space right now. Attending, check that box. Befriending. Now, some would say that we should be befriending each other, but I believe that we should be befriending ourselves. Yes. For those of you who are listening, who are going to hear this back on the podcast, Stacia is wrapping her loving arms around herself, and just befriending in the moment that lovable creature that is Stacia. Easy to love, Stacia. Easy to love, Andre. Easy to love. Fill in the blank with who's easy to love in this moment. I promise you, this will feel better than any episode of Real Housewives of anything. This idea that in a moment's notice we can fall in love again and befriend ourselves. Take a breath.
what a simple joy.
What a simple joy. What a simple joy. I get so caught up in the technology that I forget what it means to be in simple joy.
Ooh, guess what, Spirit, I just caught?
Okay.
Just in the moment of saying what a simple joy to breathe in and out. You know, we're primed to think about the negatives and the pessimism of future casting. And it's easy to do that in this present moment of global pandemic and suffering. But in that moment of contemplating what a simple joy it is to take a deep breath, how joyful that is, because in this present moment of global pandemic, of a respiratory virus, not everyone has that simple joy of a healthful breath in and out. And how important it is for all of us who are able to have that simple joy to be attentive and mindful that it is such.
That it is. You're saying that in times like these, the gift of a single breath is that much more valuable because so many did not take it this morning.
Precisely that.
And I have deep resonance. They say that if you ring a bell on the opposite end of the room that's tuned to the same frequency of the first bell, it'll just start vibrating for no reason. Mm-hmm. And I'm having that moment with you right now, Stacia.
Where I love that resonance.
If we all just want to tune into that love flow, that love vibe, that love train, if we could just unite right now wherever we are on the planet. For those of you who are watching live on YouTube and that are tuning in later on the podcast, like if you could just sink in with the breath of whoever is listening right now and just breathe in and breathe out.
Oh my God, that feels so fucking good.
Such a sacred and loving act in times like these when people are wilding. Like, I mean, just losing their fucking minds because of not being able to just be one with the gift of a single breath. And I don't want to pass on a moment of gratitude about a single breath. Because if you can be grateful for a single breath, you can be grateful for everything. And see, this isn't performance for Stacia and I. We're taping a podcast right now because we want to have this shit to look back at when we get Cicely Tyson's age. When I get Cicely Tyson's age, I'm going to say Jeeves and a fucking hologram's going to come out the fucking sky. I say, show me, beloved. Show me where I was on January 23rd in the year of our so-called Lord, 2021. Where was I? Who was I attending? Who was I befriending? And who was I consistently showing up for? Beyond all of the things that are added unto us, how was I attending? Show me Jeeves on the hologram wall in the sky.
You said Jeeves.
I mean, that's what mine's going to be called. What the fuck is yours going to be called? What is your hologram of 2050, 60, 2065, 2075, 2085? If Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we'll still be here in 2085, y'all. What is going to be captured about you? Who were you amongst? They say that you're like, they say you become the 5 people you hang out with the most. So even in these spaces like Clubhouse that I went live on, like, we have to be mindful of the company we're keeping, because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if you're in these spaces, in these digital spaces, and you're hearing things that are a little tilted, know that that's what's inside people's hearts. And I believe that the D that we made up that day when we were fucking around on the internet was discernment. Befriend consistently with discernment. You gotta have it. You gotta
an attunement, I would say.
An attunement. Okay, so what? Yeah.
Okay.
Teacher.
A friend and I were recently talking about tuning forks and how, they're a simple instrument, right, of creating this resonance of auditory vibration, and that they can shift, right, based on where you set the tuning fork to. I found out a lot about tuning forks. And the curious thing was that I had an image in my mind of what a tuning fork was, but I didn't really ever think about what it means and why I use that symbol without even contemplating it. But why I'm coming back to this idea of a tuning fork is that I would like my intention for our creative expressions, for my creative expressions for this podcast, is for, in whatever time and space among us and whatever creatures might engage with this creative expression, that because we are attentive to showing up in presence and in loving intention, it is a tuning fork for other people with a similar vibration in whatever iteration of time space they come to this bit of media.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Oh, so for those of you, there's a reason why we started this podcast, and you just reminded me. So for those of you who caught what Stacia was talking about, then you get what she's talking about. For those of you who need the too long don't read, because when we started this podcast, you knew what was going to happen. You were going to be attuning to the stars and having friends and conversations and being your lovable Angela Davis-like self. Yes.
Distill it for me.
Simple.
With concision, with your INTJ conciseness.
simply it's a frequency thing.
It's a vibe. Catch it if
It's a
can.
vibe. It's just a vibe. And everybody won't be on your vibe. That's the attunement Stacia's talking about. Like when you're singing a song in the key of G, it would help for a traditionally beautiful Western sounding sound that we all like in our ears. It would help that if the song was in the key of G, that everybody was singing in G, even for a moment. Right?
You said some of you hoes off key.
I didn't say that. All I'm saying is it would be helpful if we all sang in the same key just for that song. Like not for every song. That'd be a little wild if we had to hear every song in the key of
In
G.
G. That'd be basic.
I mean, if like you go to the opera, oh, this shit is in G. Oh, you listen to your rap, oh, this shit is in G. That would not be a good thing.
That's called iHeartRadio.
Don't.
I'm sorry. Don't come for us.
Some of us are still working on sponsorships, so I don't know.
Okay.
You had to lampoon one of our actual carriers.
Woo!
That's fine. Niggas ain't shit. Yeah. We also want to talk a little bit today about how the ABCs of life, as we express them, can go left. You know. Oh.
What was it?
One of the ways that came up for me in my meditation time to talk about today, in which, how attending, befriending consistently can go left, is when we use others as an excuse to erase our own brilliance.
Ooh.
Like that somehow what they have, because they have their gifts, makes them better than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to unpack for a few minutes, where do you think that comes from? This idea that someone else shining in their own galaxy could take away the light of your galaxy. Make sense?
Yeah. For me, I think it's an exercise if you're attentive to wanting to grow yourself. It is an experience that everyone goes through to have to figure out how to build the space within yourself and to go through the motions of recognizing that one can be in service to thinking that other people should fill that space in one iteration or the other, and that in order for you to be fully expressed, to fill your own space, if there wasn't a contrast of you having to learn through trials and tribulations, that it is an inside job to have a sustainable battery of energy within yourself, you have to figure that out. I don't know if that made sense. Maybe I'm too in the abstract. I don't know if you want to concretize what I'm trying to say, if you can catch my vibe. But I think that also, not to get on a political soapbox, but our society is structured so that we're on a hamster wheel of creating a vibration where we need the response of the exterior world to try and signal to us a shallow sense of value. But it's an exercise in contrast to teach those who are attentive and willing to want to get to a fully expressed place in this life, to recognize that a lot of suffering comes from misappropriating our value in others and their responsiveness to us.
What's in your notes?
What's in my notes today is the first thing I was thinking about is in the ABCs that we're talking about, attending, befriending, and with consistency, is that attentiveness is something that is actually something that you have to practice as an exercise in modern society, because it takes a level of presence to be able to be responsive and not reactive to those who are around you. And attending someone, from my perspective, is being able to be present in responsiveness and to hold space for being responsive and not reactive. Does that make sense what I'm saying? And that it is really powerful in building community, in tending, creating a world that we want to see that is based on a loving interdependence and not codependence, is to be able to attend others by first attending ourselves. What I mean by that is being able to come back to and call back to this self-sustaining energy, to keep coming back to the idea that we are responsible for shaping our own reality, and that before we can be in service to others, before we can fully be in relationship with others, we have to attend to our own needs first and start from that place, and then be fully present in being able to respond to those around us and not react.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot over the last few months about how reactive society at large, and how reactive I've made myself in the face of society and family at large. I'll hopefully make this make sense. People are constantly pulling at us and picking at us to turn us into the most favorable person for them. And people don't like that. Like, they don't like when you try to make them you. It actually is the worst thing you could do to someone, to actually try to make them become you. Because they're not really interested in becoming you. They're interested in becoming a better version of themselves. And so let's bring Stacia back in here. Are you good?
I am good, but okay, yeah, I'm good.
So, where was I with my train of thought? Someone help me in the chat and let me.
I think you were saying how, it is for us to project ourselves onto others is actually one of the most challenging things we can do.
Say that one more time.
To project ourselves onto others, to expect others to be us and to be like us, to have that expectation of what we want and what we seek in others is problematic.
Very problematic.
Creates more suffering for us.
It really does. It really does. When people, all they want to do is simply be themselves. And so what I found in my life was that I was constantly being reactive because people were trying to tell me how to be. Now, fuck that I was a good person. Fuck that I was growing, in my education. Fuck that I was just trying to like survive, eat
as a
food.
Black man, a Black queer man in America.
Yeah, just being. I mean, I was checking all the boxes, law abiding, tax paying, all of that. That's not good enough for a lot of people.
Mhm.
A lot of people want more than that. They want you to actually conform and come into this cookie cutter identity that they have described. And I would constantly react to that. I would either go super internal and be like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me that I didn't like become who they wanted to be? Or they would then turn on me, which happens all the fucking time. I've got the PhD in it. They would turn on me. Listen, this ain't nothing new. Fuck the performance. Fuck the performance. It's like, oh, now you're mad at me because I decided that I just wanted to stand up in the truth of who I am and not like chase our tails in this circular ass conversation of words. Like, we're saying a lot of words, but are we actually making like impact that makes your day better?
Yeah, an embodied philosophy.
Yeah.
You know, we can all just say words about a thing, but it's like, are you in the right action of it?
That's the difference. And that's why when you're in these clubhouse spaces or when you're in any digital space, Instagram, Facebook that I quit and beyond, someone hit me up this morning and was like, you're not responding to any of my messages. I was like, well, I'm responding to this one. What's up? Where have you been messaging me? Well, I've been messaging you over on Facebook Messenger. Well, I deleted Facebook Messenger and Facebook at the top of the year.
Yep.
And then it's like, but I'm still here, beloved, in this fucking text message. You're lucky I didn't change my fucking phone number. Because if I changed my phone number the way I wanted to change my phone number, you wouldn't even be able to get me here. So now that we're here, what do you have to say? And people don't like that kind of thing. Like, the spotlights are coming on all of us right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up. Wake up. A lot of us are being put on full-blown blast right now about our brilliance. Like, it's very telling because, like, when the lights come on, are you on your mark or not? And like, that's where the rubber meets the road. And what I find in these like clubhouse spaces and what I find in these digital spaces now that I'm stepping out, it was paper tigers. Paper tigers. Being scared of people, situations, and circumstances that go. Okay. Being scared of people, circumstances, and encounters that, you know, make sure that when you're out in the world that you're being poured into by people who are whole themselves. And I'm very, very concerned about the ways in which this technology is going to develop, particularly as it relates to Clubhouse, but also other digital platforms, because it won't just be Clubhouse. Twitter is creating this thing called Spaces, where people are going to be able to like be in talking spaces with Twitter people. So it's about to get very, very personal. We're about to all be seen and platformed in ways that we've not been platformed before. I think it's very important that you get your energy together. And I'm saying this as a person who worked a lot through 2020, moving into 2021, to get my shit, you know, I wouldn't say that my shit is like 1000% together, but I had to make clear decisions about who I want to be in the world and why I want to be that person. Like, clear decisions. It happened through business situations falling apart. It happened through colleagues getting mad at me. It came through family members leaving my front door open and walking
with a mattress on the street.
And all of that led me to this place where it's like, oh, Dre, like, I was so harmed and hurt by all of that because I was not a good guy or a good person pretending to be good in the ways that people think I do. So when they get me, it's like, ooh, at least I poked a little hole in his fake bubble. No, I'm actually trying to be love. I'm also trying to figure out what type of plant is growing very large. I call him Bruce on my table. He's not going to be able to be under that lamp for very long. He's going all the way up the wall. Like, these are the type of things, beloveds, that I'm concerned with. I don't give a fuck about your ego and expectations of what it means to be a resume. Like,
Not my business.
it's not anymore. And I think, and like I was telling Stacia before we started this shit show of an episode today, we're only responsible to the present moment of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And the expectation of that present moment for me is that when I close my eyes on this life, I do not do so as a stressed out motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That, as our guru or my guru, Sadhguru says, in every moment we're choosing to have a pleasant experience or an unpleasant experience. In every moment we're choosing that. And it's up to us to decide how we want to do that. Let's get Stacia back in here. Pleasantness or unpleasantness in any moment, we decide.
There's such a freedom in that when you really can get into what that feels like. It's empowering because you're not when you recognize that there's no top and bottom, you can relax into the free fall.
Yeah. And just show up as you are, as you can, and know that it's enough, because 300 years from now, it won't matter. Mm-hmm. Not to us.
Mm-mm.
I believe that we will careen into organic matter. And I know y'all don't like it when I talk like this, but I really do think we're going to turn into ashes.
The apple into the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get raked across the coals from this, and y'all never had me sing in the churches that you weren't going to have me sing in anyway. So it really doesn't fucking matter. But I do believe that my ashes will be scattered in a very sunny place, and that in that moment I will become the water that I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's it for that. And I believe that some child will drink from the stream that my ashes are coming through, and I will become that child. And so on we go. I don't think it's as deep as any of us fight each other for it to be. I'm in spaces nightly now that I've become a Clubhouse addict, where people are trying to prove to everybody else that Jesus is Lord. Mm-hmm. Like, what an interesting way to spend your time. You could be eating an apple or writing a song, and a lot of people are doing those things and wasting a lot of time proclaiming that Jesus is Lord. I really want us to recognize that there are people who did not wake up this morning. And
that didn't take that simple.
They didn't inhale.
In and out.
They did not. And we did. And how we spend our time matters. I'm also under the life's lessons category, wanting to spend a little time tonight talking about the releasing of the need to be seen as somebody.
Ooh, speak on it.
A lot of people are really, really concerned, and I've toyed with it in and out of this podcast about and had to battle myself on the need.
Dignity.
Well, I've got the dignity. That ain't going no. Dignity is always in place, which is an interesting thing for you to say, because Stacia's pointing to an inside joke we have, or inside proclamation I have, about the ways in which we all should be carrying ourselves in times like these. I think that our ancestors paid a lot with their blood, sweat, and tears for us to not be living our lives, particularly Black people. I'm not really concerned with the liberation or freedom of anybody else, frankly. I stand Black people and Black people alone, especially in this current climate of our lives. I'll say it again. I stand Black people and Black people alone in this current climate of our lives. Do I have love?
Preach on it.
I'm sorry?
I just said preach on it.
Yeah, I have love in my heart for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Draw nigh unto him, and he will draw nigh unto you. Some of you people out there in the world are wondering why you're not being drawn nigh unto, why nobody wants to sit by you. You want to know why nobody wants to sit by you? Nobody wants to sit by you because you don't have the fragrance in your heart of just, I'm just a nobody. There's a nobody on the internet right now streaming off of Chrome, you know, kicking it with the homies, so that Jeeves, pull up January 23rd, 2021. But sir, like 2030 and 2040 were more exciting years for you. No, I want to see January 30th. No, too far. January 23rd, 2021. And this conversation will play.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be all useful in the divine. Or it won't play at all. And the young lady who sipped me with her cyborg lunch is thankful. I don't over-index. Something I learned in 2020 was that you really can't over-index like somebody else's influence in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You can't over-index your own influence. Just be. I have this on my mind because the Wiz on Clubhouse gave me little feature on their Instagram, and I put as my thank you back, be a lion from the Wiz. In your own way, be a lion. And for those of you who don't know the story of the Wizard of Oz, in case you've been under a rock all your fucking life, you know, the thing that the lion wanted the most in the Wizard of Oz, or in the Wiz or Wicked or any other telling, the thing that the lion wanted the most was courage. You know, just like but as the song says, all we are responsible for is being a lion. Not pretending to be a lion, not putting on the fur, you know, and scotch taping it to our face. You know, what?
I've just been thinking about the symbol of being something versus being something and the fluctuation between it.
Could you say that one time and say it 2 times slower?
I've been thinking about the difference between the symbol of being something versus being it, right? And the fluctuations that we have as human creatures between being the sign and the signified, right? So like out of a state of lack, we can think, I'm supposed to be a lion, and to be a lion, I need to have a full mane. So I've got to add these extra extensions because my hair isn't the mane of a lion, and I'm supposed to be a lion, when all of the while you're a fucking lion.
For those of you listening, Stacia's giving air quotes when she says being a lion, like, you know, because according to the world at large, to be a lion means you, like, and I was even getting pulled into that when I was in my analogy, like we think that a lion has a giant mane. We think that a lion
can all have the most illustrious curls.
Well, I see you flexing, but then you're taking away from your own point. Like there's so many ways to be a lion.
Yes, I'm being playful, but
that's
yes.
The dirt of it. Like the dirt of it is that, like, in our own way, we are called to be lions. And we don't have to growl the loudest, and we don't have to puff up the loudest. We don't even have to shrink down. You can just simply be a lion. And that's enough. And so that, like I said, that ties right back into my releasing the need to be seen as somebody. Like the moment that you start trying to be somebody, let me not do that. The moment that Willie Andre Stiff, that's my government. The moment that I start trying to be somebody is the moment that I'm pulled immediately out of my power. Immediately off center. That's a moment that, okay, so I'm going down this, and shout out to Dimitri and Tommy who are listening on we're doing a live podcast taping over on my website. Good to see y'all. I love y'all for real. We're in this river, right? We're in this stream of life. We have all the room we need. We have all the gifts we've been given. We've been given our own boat, and the boat floats. The reason why I know the boat floats is because we woke up this fucking morning. And we woke up this morning, your boat is in the stream, and it is floating, okay? All of us floating. And then we've got all of these gifts and all of these special things that we do. Like there are things that we do that other people couldn't fathom doing. It's not even because they don't want to do it. It's just, it's not their thing. Like it's not what it's not what floats their boat. It's what floats your boat. Like you're able to gather people together. You're able to sing the highest note. You're able to sing the lowest note. You're able to fart on command. Like there's all of these different things that are like things that are floating your boat, and you got all the space you need. But the moment you start trying to be somebody, the moment you step in, like life is presenting these opportunities all the time. And in an era, in the age of Clubhouse, and I was telling them earlier, like Twitter's making spaces. So we're about to get like inundated with just voices, like more noise, like more people, what they call in scripture, like clangling cymbals, like just a bunch of fucking.
Yes.
It's going to happen.
It is happening.
It's happening. We're contributing even now to it as we're speaking. But my thing is like what you contribute is so important, because we're responsible for who we are in this world and the things we say. But back to the boat analogy, we're in this thing. We've got all of our gifts. We've got all of our blessing. We got the things we do well, things that other people don't even want to do. Into the Clubhouse room on the behind the scenes of the podcast taping that's going live on the website. What I love about Into, who's working on a project with us. What I love about Into is that Into says in the whole space, I'm not a singer. I don't do what y'all do. I'm just here to be support and to lend my gifts. Into is a brilliant HR generalist. Into knows all that shit you don't like to do, Stacia, like spreadsheets and Google Drives and
administrative bullshit.
All that. Well, see, it's bullshit to you, but it's
no. You're right.
It's bullshit to you, but it's Into's motherfucking gifts. To be calm and level and steady. Like I've never met Into outside of, and I hope I'm using the right pronouns, her power. Like it's just like, this is where I am and this is how I want to serve. And I think that there's such a just simplicity and a beauty and a blessing in that. Yes. I am eliminating all of the fiber in my body temple 1 to 2 times a day.
This nigga,
and it holds up my meetings. Like I'm like, Stacia, I'm sorry, can I talk to you in 15
Nature calls.
Mother Nature was knocking on heaven's motherfucking door. And this is what it feels like to be free of the need to be somebody, the need to have a resume, the need to have this degree and that degree, and to be seen and being seen. Like my 2021 word of the year, and I've been living this out in all spaces, truthfully, simplicity. The fact that I could just stop talking right now and take a motherfucking breath. That's going to be the aphrodisiac of 2021 for me.
Speak on it.
Can you pause and say thank you? Can you pause and say thank you? It goes beyond the running the churches on the next verse of For Every Mountain. It's always gonna modulate. It's always gonna set you on fire. It's always gonna give you the heebie-jeebies. It's always gonna make we're always gonna go in for you are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. I lift my hands in total praise to you. We're always gonna go in for that, but can you actually pause? Stacia, that's
a cause for a cause.
Woo! That is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
As people say, it's the presence for me. That presence with a capital P. That spirit of love, presence, and power. Call it whatever you want. Some call it God. Some call it Shamalama. Some call it flying spaghetti monster. Some calls it Allah. Some call it Yahweh. Like I've heard people call it all sorts of things. I've heard people moaning about it too. People are calling on all kinds of things. But whatever you do call it, make sure that you do. Especially in times like these. And that we don't get so caught up in a follower count that we're not following the voice of spirit. Like I wish I could unfollow everybody to just follow the spirit.
It's all Aquarius.
It's very Aquarius. It's very like aloof. It's very, I know. Okay, so for those of you who want to know, and this will answer all the questions, I'm an INTJ. I am an Aquarius. And I'm House of Slytherin.
Oof.
And so that's gonna put a lot of people off. But you niggas that know that there's a lot of juice where that Venn diagram meets, because somebody has got to stay grounded in this ashy motherfucker and be the person that's not so popular, but the nigga in the corner that's saying, be still and know.
Yes. Can I belabor something about this theme about the exercise and not trying to be somebody?
Always, friend. Always.
I just want to underscore that, I think in the Judeo-Christian tradition, I want to just make clear, when we talk about the problems of trying to be somebody and how so much suffering comes from trying to be somebody, we're not saying that means that in some martyrdom of attempting humility that you need to shrink yourself down because it's egotistical to know that you are somebody. That what we're implying is that.
Are you speaking to like that, like, oh, all glory to God. All glory to God. Like all, and it's so much glory to God that you shrink yourself to be so small, like that you don't even feel like you belong. Like there's so many people in these digital spaces that belong. Like y'all don't even know how fucking, like, I'm sorry, Stacia, not to derail, but I took a hit of the pipe, and now this is where we are. Y'all don't even know Dimitri, Tommy, Into over on Clubhouse, whoever's watching on the live stream on YouTube, like y'all are so fucking brilliant. Like each and every last one of you, like all of you, like you children and descendants of motherfucking slaves. like how they shackled us and took our deities from us and brought us over here, stole from other people who were already on fire. Like the people who were the First Nations people who were here already were already like they had full agrarian societies. Like they had already built communities of harmony and solidarity. They had what we had ancestrally on the other side of the ocean. And these motherfuckers took us away from us and stole from us, and now we're in spaces trying to prove to everybody that we are somebody when there's acres of diamonds in us all. Acres of diamonds. Check your backyard. Check your backyard. Don't be in these spaces checking everybody else's backyard. Don't be, and for those of you who don't know, what is this nigga talking about? I'm talking about this African proverb where there once was this man living in a house, and there was this big rush that came through town, a lot like Clubhouse, where everybody started talking about who had the diamonds, where were the diamonds, where were the diamonds, where were they? So just like Clubhouse chatter, and just like YouTube chatter, and just like Broadway chatter, and all these other spaces that chatter, people were like, where are the diamonds? Where are the diamonds? So they went from room to room and from house to house looking for diamonds. And this guy was living in this house. He was like, oh my God, everybody's looking for diamonds. I don't have any diamonds. Let me leave my house. And so he sold his house and went looking for diamonds everywhere else. Like just went like up the village, up the town. How am I doing, Stacia? I think I'm getting it right this time.
You're doing great.
It changes every time. And so they start looking through the village for like he was looking. And then all of a sudden, the person that bought the house from him when he went looking for diamonds discovered that in their backyard,
full of diamonds.
And when the nigga that was out here, when the dude that was out here, whatever blessed your spirit, when the guy or the person or the human spirit that was out here found out that he sold his house, he threw himself into a lake and drowned himself. Why? Because he didn't know what y'all need to know. You are sitting on acres of diamonds
within you.
And white supremacy and capitalism and the patriarchy, especially you beautiful black women who are in here, who I bow to. I bow down, Demetric. I bow down, Tommy. I bow down, Into. I bow down, Kimbo. I bow down, Brother Travis. I bow down to all of you. There are acres, and whoever's watching over on YouTube, I bow down to you. The reason why I come into these spaces and have nothing to say is because I'm bowing down to you. It's that circle of life shit. Someone's holding y'all up on the mountain. And I bow down to that in the kingdom of Wakanda, where everybody is beautiful and talented and gifted. Stacia, say something so I can stop talking.
I'm just circling back to this idea of really embodying the philosophy of not trying to be somebody because you know in your spirit that you always are somebody. Every day, moment that you take a breath, you are somebody. That is really embodying what it means to namaste. For me to see, to rest into the notion that
I'm the dictionary. So namaste. For those of you, because I was actually in a room earlier in the week where I didn't even come off mute. They were like, they didn't. People,
of course you didn't.
It's not my place to like teach these things that are in like books or like on Google. But I digress.
I feel you.
They said that like sage was demonic, and that they didn't know anything about.
What was it?
They didn't know anything about namaste because namaste had nothing to do with Jesus. Like, I don't know nothing about it. And my mother was like this. My mother's very much like, it is Jesus, our Lord and Savior up in here. Anything else? My mother's so Pentecostal. She'd open the back door and when I came out of the closet, she opened the back door of the house and gave the devil the biggest high kick that you would ever see.
Not funny, but also it is funny.
That's what she did. So I'm in rooms. So I had to pause, not to take over from the conversation, but to pause because you said namaste casually as if people aren't afraid of this language. People are really afraid of this language in 2021. Namaste is Sanskrit, and I could be, I don't want to give, what they say, fake news. But the basics, it comes from Eastern traditions. And what it means is the divine in me bows down to the divine in you. And so the God in me recognizes the God in you. Now, I've been thinking about this all week, in that, like, the Buddha said this before Jesus was even, like, around, like in history. Like, people got to stay humble. Like, I'm staying humble in my life. You got to stay humble. Like, humility says, what came before Jesus? Like, I'm so attached to Jesus. And don't get me wrong, y'all. Y'all can pray for me, put me in your prayer closet or not. Like, put me on your prayer list. It's cute. It's cute. I'm not rejecting that. What I'm saying is both and. And for those of us who are actors, that's an acting technique. Lead from the yes and.
And. Yeah.
Yes, and so Jesus and beyond. Like, I've been seeing a lot of small gods in these spaces. People's gods, like, your God is very small. Your God is very limited. If your God can't contain the Buddha, you need a bigger God. I would go shopping for a bigger God on Amazon. Like, if your God isn't big enough to contain the whole wide world that y'all say is in the whole world hands. Oh, I just lost somebody. Maybe not for that. Maybe she had to go take a pee. Maybe she had to pee. Maybe she, like, it's none of, it's another one of those things where we get so trapped in who's listening and all of these things, when our only requirement is just to be.
A tuning fork doesn't need to check to see what's resonating with it. That would defeat the purpose. It just is.
It just is. You remind me of this almost daily. And I'm very grateful for that, friend. I'm very grateful for a grounding presence that says how you show up and as you show up and for as long as you show up, that is enough. And the central thought that we were on like 20 minutes ago was that there's so many things, and y'all just saw it happen to me in real time when Tommy left the room. There's so many things that pushes us and pulls us off center from the power that is us. Mm-hmm. And so
I was just going to add, I don't want to distract you. Did you have a thought? Something to
well, I write my thoughts down, so they'll always come back.
I love the shadiness.
What?
You said, I will come back to my thoughts. I'm a professional.
You're projecting.
And my being. No, I'm just kidding.
I literally just have show notes because niggas that run shows should have show notes. Flash, 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 flash. If you're in the world operating your shit without show notes, have show notes. It will literally, if you're trying to take it from good to great, it will literally take you plus. Like for me, it's 2 3x5 note cards.
Yeah, that was really helpful suggestion.
And I write down the 3 top things that I want to highlight while speaking publicly, so that I'm not so in the clouds through herbal medicinals or otherwise to not actually bring value. So yeah, if you're out here just like, throwing your ideas around in the world and you wanting to actually make maximum impact, write your shit down. Anyway.
That was a really helpful tip.
Go on, Stacia. What do you have to say? Just say it already.
What I was trying to get to was that, like, coming back to the B of these ABCs that we were talking about in befriending, is being able to rest into a security of being able to know that because I have a light in me, I can rest into that and see the light in you, because like knows like. And so I don't have, there's more joyfulness in my present being to be in relationship where there isn't this I'm pretty, you're pretty, as you like to say so often, this needing to have a constant affirmation, that I can befriend you in just being in holding space and being present as long as I can be and choose to be, and observing you and being in conversation with you, and whatever that means, verbally, in the spirit, and otherwise, without competition, without insecurity of needing you to tell me. I mean, we've had our own trials and tribulations of learning through that, but that there is such power in community building when I can just know that the people who are meant to be in my court will befriend me without effort, in the sense of them having to prove to me my worth and value. They just are. They just be, and I just be, and we just be together.
This is what I was talking about on my Instagram when I said talented people behaving as talented people, or for me, Black kings and queens behaving as Black kings and queens, behaving as Black kings and queens. Like, what you're pointing to is the rest and relaxation and the ease of flow that happens when you're just befriending.
Yeah.
And like it's such a weight off. And I've been in so many spaces recently where I'm like, are you exhausted, friend? Like, that must be so tiring to need to be so. And look, people have their different ways. I'm saying this as an introvert that turns on extroversion to further the mission of my heart, which is love. And that's the only thing that I'm peddling in these streets is love. I don't care about being booked and blessed. I don't care about the next contract. I don't care if anything makes it platinum. I've already relegated into my heart that I'm not going to be Beyonce in this life. And so because of that, it's just a simple love exchange that gets to happen. And you can feel when it's different. Like, you can feel when people are wanting you to clap for them, as opposed to just being present in your Black ass power.
And I just want to speak in like, you know, talking out with realness, that I can observe what you're talking about from just in our own relationship, my own experience of trying to be somebody and flailing around because I saw and observed your greatness, your brilliance, your gifts. But because I had to do my work to see my own gifts, I was trying so hard to get you to signal to me that I was worthy of your time and your presence. While all the while you were saying there is no need of proof of concept. The proof of concept is that I am here right now with you, bitch. Like, I am here. What do you want from me?
Like, look around, like take a breath right now, whether you're listening on the live podcast or over in Clubhouse, just take a breath where you are. I'm not making any kind of statement about anywhere else. I'm just trying to anchor this thing, this love thing. That there's 3 people watching live on YouTube. There's 3 people over on the live taping on CH. That's a group of people that are just going to breathe right now together. And if you know, you know. Like, there's nothing else to it. And these niggas are out here saying shit. I can weep about it, but I can also laugh about it. They're trying to chase this.
Mm-hmm.
Just this, beloveds. Just, I love y'all so much. And I love you for no other reason than the fact that you're here.
Yeah.
You're just here. And there's nothing else. There's nothing else. It's just that. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, that is what I'm talking about.
That I told you also, because it felt like you were like being. How tall are you right now?
5'11" and 0.5 inches.
So you're taller than my black ass. It'd be like me walking by the shoreline of the ocean and you were at the edge going, I'm drowning, I'm drowning, I'm drowning, I'm drowning. And I'm like, would you stand your 5'11" ass up? Like, you're not, and I know that people really drown in like a couple inches of water, and there's numbers and statistics that support this. So do not send me email about how insensitive I was about the childhood drownings in America. I am very aware. But Stacia's 5'11" ass in truth, and then like even taller in the spiritual plane. I refuse to allow my friends to act like they can't just stand up in that water.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I brought that up just to ground our conversation in saying that, like, I think the power of us living in action, the shit that we're talking about, and not trying to pretend as if we're in some elevated place beyond the human experience, that like it is a process of remembering and forgetting the things that we're talking about. And so I'm just calling back to my own experience of a state of lack, of a trying to be somebody, of flailing around, doing the most in the 3 foot deep pool when I'm 5'11". Because we are patterned to be that way.
Yeah. And I love that we can laugh about it. I love that we can laugh about it. I hope that we continue to laugh about it. And for those of you who are in the space, if you ever meet me in person, Stacia is probably the only person in this space so far that's met me in person. I am the homie sitting across from another homie at brunch, giving the eye of like, come on. Because there's so much brilliance that we don't even have to play at a lower frequency. Like we acres of diamonds, right? So we have so much abundance where we as Broadway actors are out here in all of these different spaces. We've got like hundreds of shows in our chest. I
need to just cheerlead you for a second because the spirit is just like taking me over.
Okay.
The thing that I love about our relationship, the texture of it, the way you pour into me, the resonance that we have, is that for me, because I'm so logical and I also have a really high threshold of, I have a really sensitive bullshit detector. It takes someone like you coming to me with the energy of like, if you're going to be extra because you don't see yourself, I'm going to just sit here and watch you because it's not that's an inside job. Like, I see you and I know what you are, and I'll sit here patiently and wait till you meet me here. And I need that energy, that dispassionate compassion, because it is an inside job. But there's a resonance in that is even more powerful than somebody fucking shallowly gassing me. Because the presence, the resonance of you befriending me in your stillness to say I see you, and I will be still until you see yourself. To feel that, like, makes me emotional.
You're definitely flowing with something powerful, because we don't share notes before, not all the time, but today we didn't share notes. One of the things on my card was play from your side of the net. Like, you cannot be Serena and Venus at the same time. Like, it's like
We're two ladies.
two very large ladies, and like, you can't be both of them. You cannot be both of them. And so, yeah, Stacia, I've always seen you as whole and complete. I see everyone assembled in this space as whole and complete, exactly as you are. Do we all have things to work towards? Do I need to get this beer together? And stuff like that, like post-COVID? Sure. We all, we all could stand a little polish from time to time. And there's nothing wrong with you just as you are. And I'm realizing that if I just consistently show up as that guy, like, sure, look at the resume, but mostly what I want you to see is
me.
Yeah, like, not even me, like more of like a mirror to your own light. Like, if you actually believed the hype that you said, like if you said what you say to clubhouse rooms in a mirror, then maybe you would just actually like be that person. And like a person who is abiding that energy is a bad motherfucker. Like a person who actually says, I come in peace, and moves in peace. And this is something that I'm honestly in real time moving closer and closer towards day by day on my spiritual path. It is, what does it mean to truly be part of the blessed are the peacemakers? And that's scripture. I have a minor in Bible, so I'm licensed to quote it. Blessed are, now I don't know the rest of the verse, so that tells you how much I got out of that experience. But in that book that people hold up so high, blessed are the peacemakers. So what does it mean to inhabit peace in our interpersonal relationships, peace in our groups, peace in our creative process, and beyond? The last thought I'm going to say before we wrap this up, because I don't know how long we've been going, but it's been probably a hot minute. I just want to make sure I got everything off my note card. Maybe
I have a note on the consistency piece.
Yeah, go for that. Go for the C. For those of you who are tuning in, Stacia and I about every other week tape a live episode of, it's like a free fall kind of experience. Like, we've peed in here and gone on the screen, and it's like we've been doing this though before we even knew what a clubhouse was. And it was all, and just for full disclosure, it's very hard getting to episode number 1. In fact, we fought each other for about a year. Our literally duked it out in spirit and in truth. You don't love me, but I love you. You don't love me, but I love you. You don't understand, but I do understand. You don't understand, but I do understand. Like, we just went through all of the sibling rivalry and pain that comes along with birthing something that's going to be true and honest. You cannot. I think that if we had started it a year ago, whenever the fuck we were trying to start it, it would have been like some polished bullshit that nobody would have resonance with, because we both were so stuck and trying to be somebody. You know, I was a Broadway credited actor, and you are an environmental justice advocate and specialist saver of the community. You know, and like from
Captain Save-A-Ho, in short.
Captain Save-A-Ho. Exactly. So special, right? So special that we're so fucking unrelatable. I think people really want real people. And I only step into spaces where I can be like real, because you know when you read a room and you can tell that people are not about truth, they're about themselves. Oh, there was like a little blink that happened in the track. Little blink that happened.
It was co-signing.
Yeah, they're not they're not really there for the truth of like your life. Like right now, real life for a lot of us is sitting in the damn house.
Ugh,
A
tell me
lot
about
of
it.
collecting unemployment checks, being grateful that a stimulus hit because it's really bailing us out of some tough shit. We're
Preach.
using platforms like, you know, Twitter and Instagram and Clubhouse to kind of forget very real and not imaginary pain of niggas dying of thousands daily, and white people can't figure out how to be actually superior enough to figure it out. I think something actually, like vaccines are expiring right now somewhere as we speak because white people can't get their shit together. And the reason why I say white people is because that's who's in control. And I know the FBI is up in Clubhouse listening. So get your shit together, white people. You can figure out everything else.
Let me Google how to be in
being so superior,
responsible to why Black Lives Matter. I need to Google that.
It is so cute to actually grandstand in these spaces, but you're either about that life of Black liberation for everybody. Like I got my credits and my resume, and I've sang all over the world, and right now that's not what's at stake. Whether I can sing or not is not at stake. Me proving myself in Clubhouse and my self-worth in Clubhouse is not at stake. What's at stake is our motherfucking black ass lives. A black man, I'm up here on the porch being like, oh, did I say too much on the internet about Scientology today? Because I swear that car's been sitting all day every time I come to take a smoke. You know, that's a very real thing that white people don't have to deal with, but I do. My security system right now is not armed. I've been vulnerable the whole podcast.
Real.
And not in an imaginary way, but in a real way. But the moment that you start like speaking truth in these spaces, you like, okay, for case in point, I only come off mute in Clubhouse to speak love because it's the only thing that can heal the situation. And I get baited out of my quiet into conversations all the time. But when I stop a conversation of Black people complaining about their plight in the world as musicians, when I stop the conversation and I say, could we all take a breath on how we are full, safe, and enough? Yeah, when I do that shit, it goes really quiet. And ain't nobody got anything to say.
I was going to ask you how that was received.
It gets awkward, Stacia. Like, it gets really fucking awkward. Case in point, there's a gospel singer, award-winning gospel singer, who was doing this come and present yourself before the king Clubhouse room. And I love that we're doing this on a podcast so it can be listened to over and over again. Is one truth. I was in the space the whole time. So this gospel singer, of well-renowned, like the presence is all around, right? And so he's in there, and people are coming in, and they're presenting themselves like one by one before the king, like kiss the ring, like I've been following all my life, fan, da da da, and they're singing, you know, great is thy faithfulness. They're like singing all their stuff, and they're, you know, analyzing these people about their credit worthiness as it relates to singing. Oh, a little over embellished, da 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 da. Well, there's a kid who shall remain nameless, who came on and sang like a CCM song. And if you're not familiar with CCM, it's like hill songs. Like it's like more of a like a, you know, I'm not gonna sing it, but like it's like a more whitewashed sound. You know, like it's like, yeah, it's very like
more basic than the typical gospel tradition.
Yeah, you know, the gospel tradition is very like hooping and hollering and kind of like very demonstrative and all over the place. This CCM sound is a bit more straight toned, very more ethereal kind of sound. Anyway, this guy sang his face off, but he sang in this style. Now his background is that he went to a PWI, and so while going to that school,
predominantly white institution, for those of you who didn't catch that.
Yes. Because he went to that school, he just gravitates towards that sound. But let me tell you something what happened in that room. in that room when he sang that sound, and that sound was not the gospel sound of Black people, this superstar started asking him about his pedigree. Like, were you culturally raised in something that would make you more CCM? Were you have you been in more of those environments? And the kid was like, I just like all kinds of sounds. And like what he didn't say, what he could have said was like, and I do all of the sounds well. And it hit that star in his bag. He was like, and what he was like, well, is there a reason for that? Because gospel's where it's at, and gospel is where it needs to stay, and there's so many people, we stand on the shoulders of this one and that one. And what eventually became revealed was that CCM, read white musicians, were coming over, stealing the gospel sound, sometimes even stealing their music,
as per usual,
and then taking it in front of a larger audience and making it more. And it was very apparent to me that old head gospel was in his feelings about that. Took it out on an unassuming younger Black creative that just wanted to sing a very good song, might I add, from his heart.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you brought up this anecdote.
And so we really have to also just see how white supremacy and capitalism, and I went into a behind the scenes call on Clubhouse after the fact, and I said, y'all got to follow the money. Like, a lot of these systems of white supremacy are so deeply embedded in us that we're fighting each other for reasons that we don't have to. Like, we don't have to divide ourselves. We don't have to be weird about our greatness, frankly. Like,
and also, you go.
I was gonna say, I should be able to step into a Clubhouse room as a listener, catch a vibe or not, and just be able to move freely. You know, it's that's what happens though when beautiful Black people are witnessing other beautiful Black people. But love, don't let them fool you. Love is not the end thing in these streets. There's a lot of other things going on in these streets, but love, and that's going to change by our presence. But love is not as salacious. It's not as love is not as juicy as whispering about people. You know, like love is open heart chakra. Love is here I am. Go on. I'll talk.
I was just gonna say, I don't even think that it's not that like love is not as juicy. I just want to ground in compassion for how things have emerged to be the way they are and how people fall into the pattern, because I think all things are patterns and fractals, right? It's an exercise, I think, energetically, that getting away from the center, getting lost in the chatter is what is patterned and designed, because it is a false doctrine of connection for me to be connected to you by gossiping about somebody else. In reality, it's creating further alienation because that level of connection is shallow. And capitalism has been structured in order to make us on this hamster wheel of trying to prove our belonging and not having the discernment to see that we're further alienating ourselves. And in our humanity, we're then perpetually trying to search for that belonging. But when you do your own energetic work and you know that you do just belong and that everybody does, the whispers, the chatter, the this and that coffee talk, it doesn't matter. And not from a patronizing place, but just from a place of not being interested because that doesn't have resonance for you.
And even deeper than that, see, you took it too far because you added on that last appendage. It really, and I keep saying this, Into's in the room in Clubhouse, like, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter.
Like I mean, like you can gloss it up and make it pretty and make it have digital and analog resonance in your chest, out your chest, and your ears and your fucking booty hole, wherever you want to have it. And at the end of the day, these games we play of manipulation with each other's human spirits are only wasting time. When there's so much magic inside us. It's like the major distraction that Toni Morrison talks about. Like, our only distraction is that we constantly feel like we have to prove ourselves. They tell us that we have no kingdoms, so we spend all of our lives trying to prove that we have kingdoms. And we just gotta, like, dead on that. We gotta stop. Okay, one of my closing thoughts, and that's exactly where I was going. The last thing I want to offer tonight, in these times of great emotional and physical, frankly, upheaval, beloveds, I beg of you to conserve your energy. Now, this is something that Stacia had to talk me into. Pre-2020, I was a high-strung motherfucker, inside and out. And Stacia, which is interesting because if you ever met a spaz, it's very ironic in every true word that if y'all knew, that song says, if only you knew. Woo! It would take a spaz to level set a spaz.
Like knows like.
Like knows like. And so you coaxed me into this, and now I'm abiding it as lifestyle. Like, I put it on like the coat of many colors. You said, my nigga. I said, what, Stacia? You're going to tire yourself out, homie, if you keep paying attention to the opinions of these fucking muggles.
Everyone's a fan, nigga.
You said, everybody's a fan. And you said, like, you got to conserve your energy. Because if you keep chasing your tail and you keep chasing people's approval and you keep chasing everything by committee and everybody gets a vote, they'll try to vote you out of your own fucking company. Ask me how I know. They'll try to push you out of your brilliance. You'll be contributing financially the most to a project, and they'll try to push you out like you don't belong. It's wild. It's wild. And it's so easy to get caught up in that. Until you realize that you must conserve that energy. Like, it's not as infinite. Ask the people who died last night of COVID how precious energy really is. Ask them. The thousands of people that died last night from COVID, which I consider to be a preventable illness, because there are spaces on this country, there's spaces on this planet where COVID is not. I don't want to go down that path because I'm always in my James Baldwin bag. And I want to talk about how the superior people can't be superior if we still coughing on each other and dying to the thousands. But pull me back, God. Hold my hand, God. Hold it right now. So I can simply say that even that isn't worth getting caught up in when you are conserving your energy. Y'all have watched me battle myself in real time no less than 3 times in the last 3 minutes. That's how vigilant you have to be about thought forms, where it's like
consistency.
I'm a black man, and my blood pressure was going up thinking about how quote unquote smart people still have us dying with no money in sight. And still, how are y'all still calling yourselves the superior race? How do you still think you're smarter than everybody else when we are dying to the tunes of thousands of people per day? Make it make sense. And that's why, beloveds, we conserve our energy. We only give our energy to the things that are going to increase our joy to maximum effect. See, most people, when you tell them to put it in an email, they don't, because they don't want to witness their lack of bringing joy in an email. See, I'm sending you back emails that's got Bitmojis on it with a wine glass in my hand because I'm trying to embrace joy. But you don't want to put your fuck shit in an email because you'd have to actually bear witness to what I know. You're not bringing joy because the joy bringers are still in the room. The people who actually bring the joy consistently. Full circle moment. The A, B, and C of Stacia and I's paradigm of how to be in the planet in 2021, the ABC method that we cooked up on a past podcast episode is attending, showing up, befriending, being friendly, like Into and Stacia and I and whoever's watching, and also doing it with consistency, meaning you hang around the love vibe long enough to actually see that there's nothing to see but love.
Yes.
But because it's like a conservation of energy love, it's very pure. It's very distilled. It's like I've been not talking to niggas all week just so I could talk to y'all in this moment.
Yes.
And I did it on purpose. I did it on purpose so that I didn't have to spend my time pretending to be somebody, so I could just tell you that you're loved. Even in this time of free fall and wildness all around, you're still loved. You're still worthy. You're still valuable. And the reason why I know all that is true without knowing your situation, the reason why I know it's true is because you're here. You're here. Not here on the planet. Like, your metal and glass is communicating to my metal and glass. Stacia and I are sitting in spaces hundreds of miles apart, and here the presence of love is.
Together in spirit.
Even the birds are tweeting in the track. It's we are the ancestors' dream, and we're getting trapped in a nightmare. Like think of like my great grandma Sally, who was a whole slave at the, like, I can show y'all where the name Stith sits on a Petersburg, Virginia slave document, a slave manifest. And now I'm sitting in here in a sparkly hat in front of a colorful background, miles away from a beloved friend, talking about love.
In New York City.
In New York City. And so
what a time to be alive.
Can we breathe on that for a few minutes? Did you have like a closing thought or something before we breathe on love?
I just wanted to circle back to the C of the ABCs, of consistency, and how we give life to the things we give attention to consistently, whatever that is. And I feel free in knowing that I can consistently come back to myself, that it is a process of remembering and forgetting in my pathway towards empowerment and embodying my presence. but that I can rest into knowing that I can consistently come back to myself, consistently come back to present, and that whatever I and rest easy in the knowledge that what you give consistency to, what you give consistent attention and energy to in your energy management and maintenance will flourish. And that we can feel empowered in knowing that in each moment we have the opportunity and the gift to choose what we are going to give consistent energy and attention to. And you really helped me to understand what that means. I don't know if everyone can catch that vibe, but being in consistent relationship with you and on this love thing that we've got going has infinite gifts in the presence of what that means to come back to that place with you over and over again.
Wow. I don't know. I tell you, Stacia, what I tell everybody else. You are easy to love.
Feeling is mutual.
That's it. Screen falls out. Gotta pee. You know, me higher than Cooter Brown. All of those things plus 10,000 things are happening in this moment. And one of them that I know for sure, Stacia, is that you are easy to love. And I want to be very clear about this. You're easy to love, not based on any cause or condition that I have anything to do with. I'm stating a fact to everyone under the sound of my voice. Because you exist, you are easy to love. Don't let anybody, especially yourself, especially you tricky motherfucker, you. Don't let anybody convince you that you're not worthy of love and that you're not easy to love. And that's the place that I want to vibe at right now. I want to vibe in a space of gratitude. I want to vibe in a space of ever increasing joy. I want to vibe in a space of love. I want to vibe in a space of abiding in the things that are true, not the things that are passing through, not the fad of the moment, but what is true in the seat of your soul, beloveds. I don't have a name for it. I couldn't even pretend to know what is the best for you. I think there's a lot of people out there pretending that they know what is best for you, which spiritual path is best for you, which savior is the best one for you to dip from, you should be praying to, how you should be praying, when you should be eating, when you shouldn't be eating, whether you should be drinking 8 cups of water or 6, like a Daniel fast, a Goliath fast. Like, I mean, it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. It's a fucking lot. When all you need to relax into is that you're easy to love. And any indication from the outside of you not being easy to love is a lie.
Yes.
Any feedback that you're getting from yourself, who is the major culprit, it's usually me.
Who you telling? Who you telling?
Nothing but lovely things to my ears. But you know who the ashy motherfucker is that down talks and trash talks and all that shit? Although he's been kind of evicted. He left when you know who left. But that's an energy thing. But for the most part, like, For the most part, he doesn't come around. He sniffs a little bit, and he uses people in Clubhouse and beyond to sniff a little bit. But for the most part, the dude that tells me that I'm not easy to love has been evicted, because essentially it's just granola, some masturbation, listen to some people singing. Like, that's what my life is as a Broadway.
Simplicity.
Is that consistency?
I said simplicity.
Oh yes, it's simplicity, and yeah, and that too. It's a very simple life because it doesn't take all of what I thought it took to just relax into the fact that I'm easy to love. And all of
So easy.
And I thank you, Stacia, for reflecting that to me, as I reflect it back to you. And so we need not be in the bushes or in the dark anymore, because we're easy to love as an inside job. And then I have this sneaky suspicion that people who know that they're easy to love, they move differently in spaces. They're very weird motherfuckers like Stacia and me.
Google gobble, motherfucker.
Google gobble. You can't figure us out for a reason. It's because I'm spirit led. If spirit tells me, like the real spirit, not the fake one everybody's talking about in these streets, like the real spirit has told me to shut the fuck up in these public spaces and save your words for when you're in the company of people who truly understand you. Why would you, and here comes scripture, why would you cast your pearls before swine?
I'm so blessed and grateful that you really snapped into attunement around your energy management, because it was painful for me in beloved relationship with you to see you entertaining the waste of the beauty that is your gift of energy and presence. And to see you begin to see in yourself how valuable you are, and not from a patronizing place or an egotistical place. I feel the same way about everybody. But particularly you, because I'm in relationship with you, to see it up close and personal, to see you be empowered and understanding how valuable your time and attention is, and that out of respect for both yourself and other people, that you should only make time for people who see that value in you and within themselves. And anything else is exploitative to you and the other person. It's a waste of time, of which we have so little.
That's where I was pointing, because in COVID, as a black man, I could either get killed by the cops upstairs in a few minutes, or I could go to the grocery store, pick up a cucumber, and somebody comes behind me, sneezes on me, or however it goes. Because everybody, they don't stand back. This is a problem before COVID. Like, niggas had like issues of personal space.
Right?
If you ever
especially where you at.
If you ever flew on a flight, you would just see that people, like, they have issues of personal space. So this has always been a problem. But now that so many risk factors are in the space, and when I say the space, I'm capital T, capital S, for me as a black man, I'm being pinged into all kinds of rooms right now. Conservation of energy means don't stretch it so thin. Be okay with your enoughness being enough. That's the message. And I look forward to, like, the simplicity, which is my word for 2021. I look forward to the simplicity of just continuing to be that guy. This is the easiest I've ever played my life. I know what it feels like to grandstand and give my whole resume in an elevator pitch in front of a group of people. You know where I learned to do that? I learned to do that around white people and white spaces under white supremacist capitalism. Andre, tell us who you are. And then you have to then in like 15 seconds, like make yourself worthy to these people. When you've been living for a long time, like, and the universe says you're worthy. I'm not proving myself anymore. Either you'll get into the love flow when we cross paths, or you won't. But I'm done being a pick me kind of bitch. Like
Same to me either way.
Reactive posture that society and that the music industry, the theater industry put me in. They put me. I have a gift in this earthen vessel. I have a gift, like a legitimate gift. I went and played the recorder in elementary school. I learned in school choir. I learned in church choir. I learned how to sing properly. Then I went to sing for black people, and black people stopped clapping because I wasn't busting up my gift for them anymore. The moment that I stopped being and all that bullshit was the moment that the black people stopped clapping. But that's cool because I still secured my bag. And continue to increase in what I feel is an Andre voice. It's not a gospel voice, it's not a musical theater voice. It's an Andre voice. It's mine. It's mine.
That's a gift. It's such a gift.
Well, thank you, Stacia. But that's not like the point. Is like, sure, I'm as gifted as the next talented motherfucker in one room over in Clubhouse, and it's very important that I just mind my gift. And that I not get spun up into this web of needing to prove anything to anybody. Like that's the first moment when you can get yourself like really pulled off center because you're looking for the mute claps, or you're looking for some type of external validation that really. I hate to give you like I hate to blow like to burst the bubble, and I'm gonna let you know something. A really tricky thing. If you'll lean in, Stacia, I'll tell you a secret. There's never enough applause.
Ooh.
Like in that world that I am immersed in as a professional actor or artist formerly known as one pre-COVID. Truth is, help me with my thought.
I think what you're getting at is that when you're seeking affirmation, it's a perpetual hamster wheel. There is never enough applause because it's an inside job, and seeking that validation in an exterior way will keep you caught up. No matter how many likes you have, it's still not, oh, I got the 1,000 followers and now I need the 10,000 followers and now there's always a more.
It's wild for me to see is people still operating in that frantic energy around me when they have like 16,000 followers or 13 million followers. It's like, that's what showed me over the last week or so in the Clubhouse space in particular that, oh my God, this is a monster. Like it can really ruin your life. If you've got people with millions of followers or, several hundred thousands of followers who are being shaken to their core because they feel like in their hearts they deserved more recognition. You can see how that could actually chain you down for decades if you're not careful. Like I rebuke that in the name of the Lord, and any other thing you can rebuke it in the name of the fact, like to chase a single follower,
or any sense of validation.
Degrees,
romantic relationship, a kind of friendship with notoriety, any kind of accolade, really.
Yeah. Anyway, everyone take a breath if you can. We're coming into 27 minutes past the top of the hour, wherever you are on the planet right now. And if you're not listening to this live and you're hearing it back in the podcast, just look at whatever minute you're sitting in We call it to be the most precious thing that there ever could be. It's the present moment. It is nothing of your past. The past is over. It can harm you not. I'll say it again. The past is over. It can harm you not. The past is over. It can touch you not. The past is over. That's the first thing. The second thing is the future has not happened yet. It can touch you not. The future hasn't happened yet. It can touch you not. The future hasn't happened yet. Can't touch you. These imaginary relationships, these imaginary hardships, the imaginary suffering, the imaginary wins, the imaginary losses, hasn't happened yet. Can't touch you. Take a breath. We forget to breathe. Even Rosie perked up on that one. And so now that we know that the past is over and it can't touch us, all the accolades, all the resumes don't fucking matter. Not in the present moment. Doesn't matter. None of what we've done matters in the present moment. And none of what is to come matters in the present moment. But we can be still. Take a breath. "29 minutes past the top of the hour wherever you are listening live. If it's not 20 minutes past the top of the hour wherever you are, take note of your minute. For the next 60 seconds, let us just be together in a way that we've never been before.
Yes, there's only now.
There's only now. Breathe. What a divine gift that we have to simply breathe. Nowhere to be, nowhere to run from. Just here. One thing you'll find is that in the present moment, everything's okay. And if it's not okay, beloveds, you have access to finding a way to be okay in that stillness. I can't prove it to you. I can't make you see it. I can't do it for you. I wish I could. But if you get still in the present moment and start looking around and doing what the older saints said, count your blessings. Name them one by one. Count your blessings. See what God, the presence of love, has done. And then black folks love to say it twice, so we make sure you get it. Count your blessings, it goes on to say. It goes on to say, count your blessings. Name them one by one. Count your many blessings. Look what love has done. And so if your eyes are closed for my woo-woo impromptu breathing meditation of a Saturday afternoon or evening, whatever the fuck time it is, I want you to flutter your eyes open and just look around you. And you may not have much, but start counting at least 5 blessings. And they can be material blessings. They can be people that are in your space, people perhaps not in your space. But just look around at all the shit. Did you use that blessing today, or has it just been sitting there ready to be used when you want to use it another day?
Ooh.
Those superfluous blessings. I got 2 fucking mirrors in here. One on the wall and one on the floor. What do I need 2 mirrors for?
Yo, freaky ass.
Well, Let me stop because the DMs are not open to that spirit at all. Send those comments to at keep that away from me. No, I'm talking about superfluous blessings, like the band-aids that are sitting over there waiting in my little knick-knack black people drawer in my room. They're band-aids sitting there that on the event, now I've not cut myself, thank you Most High, but in the event that I do nick myself a little bit, I've got superfluous blessings. Blessings upon blessings, upon blessings, upon blessings, upon blessings. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. That kind of stuff that they talk about in the church, but it's not just true in the church. I ain't been in church in like years. I don't intend to go. But I still have morning by morning blessings upon blessings, like just vitamins and paper, and all of us are sitting on charged phones that give us access to the world. And if that's like the only blessing, the gift to be able to connect with like-minded individuals of love and power, then that's a blessing to name. And I'm sure that we have the 10,000s beside. And that's the kind of person that I intend to be. If you see me out in these streets not being that kind of person, the person that just is like has so many blessings in my life that I'm smiling. If you see me like being some other kind of ungrateful motherfucker, please tap me on my shoulder and lead me back to the streams of gratitude. Like,
gratitude attitude.
I cannot say it enough. Like, we are so blessed. Like, we're living in some rough times, but we are so blessed. Mm-hmm. So just package this up. You've been tuned in for the last probably 2-3 hours. I don't know what the fuck it's been. Time is a construct and an illusion, but you've been listening to over on Clubhouse, the live podcast taping of the Taking Up Space podcast. This is episode number 8. We come through about every other week to just comment on life as we know it. The last episode of last year that I think I still have yet to put up, so charge it to my head, not to my heart. The last episode of last year that will be up tonight was about how we were ending 2020. And then the last episode we did before this one was talking about how we intend to be in 2021. A lot of what you're seeing in this episode is us doing right by ourselves and holding ourselves accountable to a deeper level of dignity and a deeper dignity. So if you're curious about what the fuck we're talking about and how we got here on the planet on this moment like this, we document our shit because we want to be accountable to love, not just talking about it, but then playing, let me not. Like, let the light in. Let the light in. So this is Taking Up Space with Stacia and Dré. We've done exactly as we said. I had this like weird idea to like simulcast like a conversation that's not supposed to be captured, like, the messiness of Clubhouse and the wildness of Clubhouse and the love of Clubhouse. Like, that's not supposed to be captured, referenced, or talked about. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's cute because that's not how the universe works. What happens in the universe from us stays in the universe. And Stacia and I have done a bold and courageous thing of taking up space and holding ourselves to a record of love.
Yes.
We will not get on these airwaves and not try to encourage, equip, and empower ourselves and each other. Like, it's written in the handbook of our shit. Like, if you want to check out what we're about and what we're trying to build as a love movement, Love City Arts. You can Google that.
Yes.
Google our names, my name especially. Like, if it does not encourage, equipped, or empower people. Like, I'm not in here cursing and being foul-mouthed because I'm trying to make my mother mad. She'd be very mad about it. Fuck all that. I'm in here speaking this way to encourage, equip, and empower each other, and to encourage myself to just say what needs to be said, like
fully expressed.
Like fully. Like, I don't want to leave this motherfucker playing half-ass. Like we're all too great to be playing in this low-level, petty, muddy shit. Like, and the last thing I'll say is, if you look to the Love City Arts like Instagram page, Brother Henry and I did an episode about our Love City Arts emotion of the week, inadequacy. And one of the solutions that Spirit kind of downloaded into me to talk about this week on that pre-record is how you don't need to be in low-level vibration, beloveds. You don't have to be in the mess. Like, there's a spirit of love that will lift you above the battlefield. And I'm referencing something from the Course in Miracles, which is a biblical text, a biblically related text, in mind training, which a lot of us need, as it relates to Christianity. So it's got like Jesus language in it and stuff like that. Anyway, it's all one to me. It's all one to me. But in the Course of Miracles, they said, you don't need to operate at the level of a problem. You can actually operate at the level of the solution. Spirit of love. I'm paraphrasing hard. So there's a little Course in Miracles, and then Andre's in here. I see you, Rosie. The spirit of love will lift you above the battlefield. Like, it won't even be black versus white. It won't even be Democrat versus Republican. It won't be Broadway credit versus Broadway credit, union versus non-union, executive producer versus plebe. It won't be any of that. Like, there's a space in love, and I mean this with my whole heart. There's a space in love that will lift you above the battlefield. Like, it can lift you the fuck out of Clubhouse, where you'll feel your blood pressure going up, you'll feel your temperature rising, you'll feel your pulse going. Even in here in the live studio tonight, earlier in the call, I was like, like, I'm on Clubhouse and I'm on live here, and and I started to get a little tilted and like twisted, and I had to restart the program, and then all of a sudden, spirit of love, spirit of presence, spirit of Stacia lifted me above the whole motherfucking battlefield. That's how powerful we are. We can do it for ourselves and each other. And I'm going to stand as a person who tried to kill myself, being suicidally ideated. If you look into my story, you'll find that I tried to kill myself several times in this life. All because I didn't believe in the power of love that can lift you above the battlefield. I was literally wanting to kill. The last time I tried to kill myself, and final time I tried to kill myself, I was laying in my now ex-husband's house, and still fuck the police, but 8 uniformed officers barged into my house and airlifted me, for which I am grateful. They were actually doing their job that day. Real talk. It's just one story. My story is one story. It's what happened. I was regurgitating on myself. I was dying, y'all. I lost all of my liver function and everything. Anyway, they medevaced me out, and I ended up waking up days later. And all of that, all of my suicidal thoughts were anchored in the fact that I thought I knew the end of the story in the middle of it. And a lot of people are warring with themselves, and we're warring with each other because they think they know the end of the story, when we are living a life that's very much, my friends, in progress. And so what I've been handed down this week as my marching orders for the week is to share with everybody that the spirit of love wants to lift us above the battleground, battlefield, battleground, out of the war that we're having daily with ourselves on top of a pandemic.
Word.
Is it not enough to just be in a fucking pandemic? Like why would you beat yourself down or fight with people or talk shit in a pandemic? Like,
yeah, you ground me so regularly, and coming back to that when I'll just be spazzing out, spinning my wheels, and you're like, in a pandemic? And it just snaps me into the reality of the present moment of like, wow, to just be and be present and be still and take an unencumbered breath is to be joyful in the recognition of that gift.
well, that's Taking Up Space. Episode 8 is going to be available on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, on everywhere that you can listen to it. And it's live on YouTube right now. And after they encode it, it'll be up on YouTube. If you put in Taking Up Space with Stacia Dré, you'll see our antics across many energy spaces. I'm always grateful, Stacia J. Turner, for you holding space with me, friend.
Likewise, eternally.
I think that in your own galaxy, this sounds like a read, but it's not. In your own galaxy and in your own constellation and in your own star, you are everything to me, friend.
I receive it, and I feel the same.
All right, Stacia and I are going to run. We're going to do our little, I'm going to pee while debriefing with her for no more than 3 minutes about what we experienced today with all of y'all. Like I said, Taking Up Space is available wherever you listen. It's also available on YouTube. We're going to continue to show up to document our music. That's to see and be love to each other. And hopefully folks like us and folks like y'all will gather around and hopefully come into the conversation at some point and just be presence for each other in times like these. All right. Y'all have a great night. Thanks for tuning in.
Love you all.
You're on Clubhouse, right?
Yes.
Can you jump into this room?
Oh shit.
And then I'll bring Into up and then yeah, everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you. Well, let me make sure Stacia gets in here because it gets really dicey. Oh, now that you're in, I could probably ping you in.
Yeah, how do I find the room?
I'm gonna use a message because here it is.
You know, Grandpa don't know.
The room is coming to your messenger on your phone. I really have to pee. Okay. Y'all have a great night. Thanks so much for watching. I'm gonna get Stacia in here. She's in, so we're good. And that's the echo that I didn't want to happen. So bye, y'all.